Yeah, we're back. It's Cathy Bartuli from the Intimacy Dojo and Reid from Reid About Sex. And we're talking about commitment.
Yes. And commitment can be useful at times, but it can also get in the way. You're just looking at me. You're the one who told me that. And it made
You're the one who wanted to talk about commitment.
You're not very committed to talking about
that. You always say that. So your thoughts on commitment?
Well, I grew up, I was taught that you make a commitment and you stick with it no matter what. And my mother stayed in a relationship that was really not good for her because of that commitment. I saw that model, and I've actually done the same thing. I've stayed in relationships that I probably shouldn't have stayed in because I thought that was made a commitment.
Yeah.
And it can be really powerful to know that someone's committed to working through stuff or having certain discussions and agreements in place can be powerful and help be reassuring. And they can create a lot of chaos in people's lives and have us doing things that are not yeses for us.
Yeah. There's a difference between being committed and allowing yourself to be abused. Mm-hmm. And there's a distinction between integrity, keeping your word, and understanding where you need to change your word to be in integrity.
Yes.
And what I would say is, and having grown up in New England, in New Hampshire, where being a New Englander is like you
tough it out.
You die a New Englander. Live free or die is where I come from. That's our state motto. Like, awesome. There's not a lot of gray there. It's like you live free or you die. I think the big thing for me around commitment is the idea. It's really a commitment to your integrity and to checking in with yourself, and then communicating to the people that you're in some sort of agreement with what's changed for you when you're present to it. Sometimes you need you think something needs to change, but you need to test drive it a little bit before you're sure. And that's not being out of integrity. That's just getting more information. But the idea, especially in relationships, that we're going to measure the success by duration, by the length of how hard we stuck it out,
We're married for 50 years and we hated every minute of it, but we
were successfully married. But that's real.
Yeah.
Like, that's how we were trained,
yes.
Right? You're going to declare a major in college and graduate with that major
and work at it for the next 40 years, whether you love it or hate it.
Yeah, and now life is less about survival and getting the next crop, through the drought. And now, happiness is a part of the equation, which is kind of confusing because happiness isn't always about steadfastness.
Right.
And you need to be able to balance that with some sort of ability to be committed and continue to choose what you're going for, even if it's tough.
Yes.
And so I don't think, my mom and dad tried their best to teach me those values, but no one's really, Dr. Phil's not sitting there on his show being like, so this is how you change your mind. This is how you teach your kids to change their minds. No, he's like, you married her, you stay with her. That was my bad Dr. Phil impersonation. Sorry, Dr. Phil, if you're watching this. But the idea, like the cultural messaging is shifting, but no one's starting to talk about it.
Yes.
And so looking at what feels good for you, what doesn't feel good for you, and then being able to speak up and talk about it to the people that you're in agreements with, that alone for most people is like a black belt level communication technique. But that's what we need. And if you want to be happy, if you want to be have integrity with yourself, feel good about yourself, you need to start developing those muscles to be able to communicate like that, even when it's scary.
And it is frightening, and it can bring so much depth to a connection. All of us have gone out with friends where we could kind of tell they didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
And it was kind of miserable the whole day. Like, you were really looking forward to it, and then it's like, it wasn't what I wanted anyway.
And it was just like a little dark cloud on your parade.
Yeah. And if they had called and said, listen, I committed to going with you, I was looking forward to it, and something came up, I'm powerfully changing my mind.
Yeah.
Both of you could have had a much better day, and you would have had more depth in the relationship, more connection.
Yeah. And that kind of honesty and transparency and commitment to honesty and transparency That's what I think commitment's supposed to be these days. Not this, you choose and it's written in stone, it's cast in iron, and your success is based on how long you can hold out and do that.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you still want to be here?
Right now, I do. At least for